411, solving equations by factoring. When we solve equations by factoring, we are not going to be told what type of factoring to use, so we have to know right off the top of our head our steps in order to factor. If we look at example 1, it tells us to solve x plus 2 times x minus 5 is equal to 0. So this is factored for us. The only thing we have to do is set the x plus 2 equal to 0 as well as the x minus 5 is equal to 0. Then we solve for x for both. So we're going to subtract 2 from each side for this one. We get x is equal to negative 2, and then add the 5 on this one. We get x is equal to 5. So both x is equal to negative 2 and x is equal to 5 are our solutions. For 2, we have 5n times n minus 3 times n minus 4 is equal to 0. So we're going to set each part equal to 0. So 5n is equal to 0, n minus 3 is equal to 0, as well as n minus 4 is equal to 0. Solve for n on each part. The 5n is equal to 0, divide by 5 on each side. We get n is equal to 0. The n minus 3 is equal to 0, add 3 on each side. We get n is equal to 3. The n minus 4 is equal to 0, add the 4 to both sides. We get n is equal to 4. So we have n is equal to 0, n is equal to 3, and n is equal to 4. For our next example, we have 2x squared plus 5x is equal to 12. We want to make sure that our equation is equal to 0. So we're going to move that 12 over by subtracting it. This is going to leave us with 2x squared plus 5x minus 12 is equal to 0. We have an a that's not 1, so we're going to multiply that 2 with that negative 12, and we get negative 24. We want to find the factors of negative 24 that add up to be 5. We have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8. Well, if the 8 is positive and the 3 is negative, that's going to give us a positive 5. So we're going to replace that 5x with negative 3x plus 8x. So we're going to keep the 2x squared minus 3x plus 8x minus 12 is equal to 0. We're going to factor by grouping now. The 2x squared minus 3x, we're going to factor out an x. The 8x minus 12, we're going to factor out a positive 4. So this is going to be x times 2x minus 3 and positive 4 times 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. From here, we're going to rewrite as x plus 4 and 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. Set each part equal to 0 now. So the x plus 4 is equal to 0, and the 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. Solve for x. We're going to subtract the 4. We get x is equal to negative 4. That's one solution. The 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. We're going to add the 3 to both sides. We get 2x is equal to 3. Then we're going to divide each side by 2. And we get that x is equal to 3/2. For our next one, we have 18y cubed plus 8y plus 24y squared is equal to 0. I'm going to rewrite this to where it's in standard form, and then I'm going to factor out a greatest common factor. So if I rewrite in standard form, I'm going to have 18y cubed plus 24y squared plus 8y is equal to 0. Our greatest common factor here is 2y, so I'm going to factor out a 2y from this. This is going to leave us with 2y times 9y squared plus 12y plus 4. I'm going to multiply the 9 and the 4. 9 times 4 is 36. Find the factors of 36 that add up to be a 12. We have 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9. We have also 6 and 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. So we're going to replace the 12y with 6y plus 6y. So it's going to say 2y times 9y squared plus 6y plus 6y plus 4 is equal to 0. I'm going to factor by grouping. I'm going to factor out a 3y from the first and a 2y, or just a 2, sorry, from the second. So this is going to be 2y times 3y times 3y plus 2 times 3y plus 2 is equal to 0. From here, I'm going to have that 2y still out front. I'm going to have 3y plus 2 and 3y plus 2 is equal to 0. From here, I'm going to set each part equal to 0. So I'm going to do the 2y and the 3y plus 2. So 2y is equal to 0, 3y plus 2 is equal to 0, as well as 3y plus 2 is equal to 0. We'll realize that those 3y plus 2's are the same, so we don't have to do anything with those more than once. We can just do it once and we'll still get what y is equal to. For the 2y is equal to 0, divide each side by 2. We get y is equal to 0. That's one solution. For the 3y plus 2 is equal to 0, subtract the 2 from each side. We have 3y is equal to negative 2. Then divide each side by 3. We have y is also equal to negative 2/3. So y is equal to 0 and y is equal to negative 2/3 here. For our next example, we have 4y squared plus 12y, 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. If we multiply the 4 and the 9, we can do that, but we can also notice that we can take the square root of the 4x squared, we can take the square root of the 9, so we're going to find our a and our b by doing the square root of 4x squared, which is 2x, and our 9, which is 3. Multiply all of those with the 2, it gives us the 12x. So this is going to be, our a is the square root of 4x squared, so that's 2x. Our b is the square root of 9, which is 3. 2 times 2x times 3 is that 12x, so we can factor this by doing a plus b squared is equal to 0. So this is going to be 2x plus 3 raised to the second power is equal to 0. Now from here, set each part equal to 0. So this 2x plus 3 raised to the second power is like saying 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. So if we set both of them equal to 0, we have 2x plus 3 is equal to 0, and 2x plus 3 is equal to 0. So from here, we are going to subtract 3 from each side. We realize they're both the same, so we don't have to do this more than once. We have 2x is equal to negative 3. Then divide each side by 2. We get that x is equal to negative 3 over 2. For b, we have 25x squared minus 1 is equal to 0. So this is a difference of squares. We can take the square root of the 25x squared. We can take the square root of 1. So this is going to be 5x minus 1 times 5x plus 1 is equal to 0. So set the 5x minus 1 equal to 0. Set the 5x plus 1 equal to 0. Solve for x. Add the 1. You get 5x is equal to 1. Then we're going to divide by 5 to get x is equal to 1/5. For the other, we would have subtracted the 1 from each side. We get 5x is equal to negative 1. Then we are dividing each side by 5. We get x is equal to negative 1/5. So we have x is equal to 1/5 and negative 1/5. You could have also written this as x is equal to plus or minus 1/5. They're the same thing. For c, we have 25x squared minus 10x plus 1. So again, we can take the square root of that 25x squared. We can take the square root of that 1. We have a negative between the two, so it's going to be negative 2 times a times b. Your a is the square root of the 25x squared, which is 5x. Your b is the square root of 1, which is 1. Negative 2 times 5x times 1 is the negative 10x, so we can write this as 5x minus 1 squared is equal to 0. So this is 5x minus 1 times 5x minus 1 is equal to 0. So we set each part equal to 0. 5x minus 1 is equal to 0. 5x minus 1 is equal to 0. Solve for x. Add the 1. 5x is equal to 1. Then divide by 5. X is equal to 1/5. And we only have to do this once since both of those parentheses were identical. For D, we have 8x to the 4th power minus 2x squared is equal to 0. We have a greatest common factor, that's at 2x squared. So we're going to first start by factoring out a 2x squared. This is going to be 2x squared times 4x squared minus 1 is equal to 0. We have a difference of squares here, so this is going to be 2x squared times 2x minus 1 times 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. Set each part equal to 0. 2x squared is equal to 0. 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. And 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. We're going to start by dividing by 2 on each side with a 2x squared is equal to 0. We get x squared is equal to 0. We take the square root of each side. The square root of 0 is 0. So x is equal to 0. For the 2x minus 1 is equal to 0, we're going to add the 1 to both sides. We get 2x is equal to 1. Then we're going to divide by 2 on each side. We get x is 1/2. For the 2x plus 1, we're going to subtract 1 from each side. So 2x is equal to negative 1. Then divide by 2 on both sides. We get x is equal to negative 1/2.